at it again with another episode of Conversation is Coffee. Today we're featuring the Tops PR firm with Leslie Tops. So, Leslie, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I am originally from Arkansas, and I went to college and there, long story short, I got into radio. That was my major, communications and radio broadcasting. I started to intern at a hip hop radio station there in
Wow.
Memphis. And from there, I started getting into like the independent side of the music industry
Okay.
and dealing with like production and then some of the business aspects of it. And then I made a decision to leave and go come to Atlanta to learn more of the major side. That was my goal anyway, to learn more of the major side of the music industry. And when I moved out here, I eventually got into public relations and started a company. So that's a little bit about my career background.
Okay, that's cool. That's outstanding. So, you kind of liking the Atlanta area so much? It's a little bit different than the Arkansas area.
Well, yeah, I think Atlanta, I think I fit in pretty good here. I haven't lived in Arkansas since I was 18, but it's different, definitely there, and it's also different from Memphis.
Yeah, most definitely. So, you did hint on it a little bit, right? But wholeheartedly, what kind of got you interested in saying, you know what? I want to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, I went to school for X, Y, and Z, and I got my background, I got my education. But what made you actually like take that leap of faith and say, okay, this is something I really want to get into, and this is what I want to do, and this is my business, and I'm gonna start this business.
Well, I think for me, it goes back to my history. My father was an entrepreneur, and he did a lot of different things,
Okay.
various different things. He owned the barbecue business. He was a minister. He was in
Wow.
the army. I think it was another something else he had mentioned to me before. So I think it's kind of like, for lack of better terms, quote unquote, in my blood, that entrepreneurial type spirit
Okay.
for him. And for me, I don't know. It was one of those things where I'm the type of person where if I see an opportunity that makes sense to me, I will navigate the steps to make it a reality. And so for me, particularly with public relations, there was opportunity there that I took a hold of and just went through the different challenges that I faced and continued and overcame. And there's always going to be challenges, but there were a lot of challenges in the beginning. And so what that did, though, from my experience and who I was working with and things of that nature, it taught me how to have my own company. And not only
Okay.
that one experience, I feel like everything that I've ever done career wise or job wise, in some way, I use it in my business, whether it's an accounting experience, whether it's the retail management experience that I had where I had to manage employees, or they call them I forgot what the name for retail, but the staff there,
Mm-hmm.
that college students stuff like that. Now I have interns I have to manage, and now for accounting, I have spreadsheets I have to create and make sure that the numbers are right, things of that nature. So, I mean, from customer service jobs, all of that, I would definitely say that it was involved with where I am now.
Okay. That's actually pretty cool. So it's more so of like a holistic approach, being able to actually like holistically take care of the whole entire environment, so to speak, right? So with that, and let's say for instance, we have a young guy, a young girl out there, and they're considering, maybe I want to be like Leslie one day, and I want to get into like the, I want to get into the, the PR thing. So like, what are some of the suggestions? Like, what are the paths? Because I always say, post secondary success is best, right? However, it may not necessarily have to be college. So, any event that it does take college. I don't know. I have to do some research. But so what would you suggest? Like, would be like an avenue or a way for someone to actually transition into something, as in being like a PR manager, or even like being one of your interns or something like that.
Yeah. Well, one thing, I didn't go to college for PR. I went to college and I graduated, but it wasn't for public relations. So I
Yes.
definitely don't think a person to be successful is mandatory to go to college in this field. Additionally, like you just mentioned, though, as interns, I think that people should intern to get experience if they don't have it. Additionally, find a mentor. So, I may have interns It's really easy to find us and apply. We're on Indeed.com, and now you can just email us, and we'll take into consideration because we have interns throughout the entire year. So that's simple to do. But when I started in PR, I was working with a business PR agency, 135th Street agency at the time. That was 135 agency. But I looked up to my senior publicist as a mentor. And that really what that meant was learning under someone, training under someone to the point where that's the person, if you had a question, you would go to. In this field, particularly where I am, in this city, in entertainment relations, nobody's holding your hand. So when I say mentor, I'm not talking like somebody you sit down and you have tea with. I'm talking about somebody who you can look at and imitate in a way that's going to help flourish whatever you're trying to do. I think that answered your question, but yeah,
Yes.
doing an internship, having a mentor, and like I said, it's really easy to find and contact us on our website.
So basically, the like on-job training, shadowing is actually probably the best approach as far as getting into the public relations field. Okay.
Definitely, definitely.
So Leslie, let me ask you this, Leslie. Typically, on a typical day, what is your typical day as a public relations manager like? What is your typical day like?
Um, well, our business is based around electronics,
Okay.
whether the computer, the phone, iPad, and then social media, the website, the internet, basically. So that it's a consistent drive of different forms of communication.
Okay.
So from checking the email, checking messages, answering the phone, things of that nature, having conference calls throughout the day on different items that we need to do to run the business. So, for me, I've become, I guess maybe, I don't know if it's, I really don't know what the level would be, but it's almost close, if not an expert with multitasking.
Yes.
Like, if I didn't have to pay attention to the camera here, I could do that and talk to you and do the email at the same time and not miss a beat. That sort
Yes.
of thing. Or either, there's all these different things that are going on. So it's very busy in that context.
Okay.
Before we came into this quarantine, there were a lot of different events and, media runs where you have to be in studio at a radio station or a TV station and those type of things go up, or having lunch meetings or having face meetings with people. Now a lot of things are virtual, so you still have that, but you just have this comfort of your own space.
Okay. So if someone wants to take you on, right, and they want you to represent them, so how do they actually get in contact with you?
They can text me, they can call me, they can email me. I can get my number if you want to do that.
Okay.
And our website is topsprfirm.com. And then our social media outlet is Tops PR Firm. The one way I would not recommend would be social media because I have a staff that runs our social media account, so I'll check it. And these days, haven't even been on social media like that. So the best way to reach and contact us would be either through the phone or the email.
Okay.
The website goes to the email, so that'll work.
All right. Now let me ask you that this may be like a tricky question. This is the first time I've asked anyone of this question here.
Okay.
So if older Leslie were to look at younger Leslie, right, prior to becoming this famous entrepreneur, right, of the Tops PR firm, right, what would she tell 5-year-old Leslie?
So you say when you say older, you mean me now or what I
Current, yes, not old as in no, not that old, but as in older, as in maturer, as in current
tell her
Leslie.
about what? PR?
Yes, or just about life in general. Like, what would you tell her about this path?
I would tell her to cherish now.
Okay.
Don't really focus as much on the future. You should plan and have a direction for the future, but don't let that be a focal point. Like in other words, you have your past, your present, and your future. And sometimes I think, well, for me anyway, I think I've always kind of split them and made them equal.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it's in 3 parts, whatever those numbers are, it's divided equally. The past is something that you can't change and you have to let it go. There's memories and that's great. And in the future, you can't really predict that. And so you don't know what's going to happen, but like I mentioned earlier, you can plan. But the present, I feel, is the most important because you have to value that in a different way because that's where you are now.
Okay.
Even in the context of, let's say, you have somebody in your life, you don't know what's going to happen. They may not be in your life in the future. So you got to focus and take in the context of being in the present, of appreciating the right now. Same thing with any goal that you have. It's great to have goals, but where are you right now that you can focus on and you can make an impact, whether it's in other people's life or is it to further a goal that you have, or is it something that you're working on that you need to cultivate, if that makes sense. So I just think that I would say focus, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but focus 80% on the present, 10% on the past, and 10% on the future in those ways. But at the same time, you're still planning, you're still organizing, you still have memories that you appreciate.
Well
I hope
said.
that makes
Well
sense.
said. Well said. Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure 5-year-old Leslie would definitely appreciate that right now.
Well, you said 5 years old.
Yes,
I
but it's in the
understand.
same
I
sense.
just missed the question. I thought you meant like a younger me, and I was really thinking like somebody in their 20s.
No, but even still,
A
you know,
5 year old ain't gonna understand any of that.
why not? I think to be
I don't know.
honest with you,
I have to break it down more simple, more elementary for a
no,
5 year
no,
old.
I'm a believer in um, influencing kids young, right, and exposing them to different things at a very young age. And I
Hmm.
believe, some of the things they don't teach in school, if they were actually taught, right, in the school system, we wouldn't have to actually bump our heads so much as adults because we learned it and we went through it in the school system,
Yeah.
right? So, life has a crazy way of showing us and helping us experience certain things throughout our trials and tribulations and everything. So, if I'm saying yes, 5-year-old Leslie, I would have still said that to her, in my opinion, because I think even though you say yeah, you may have to break it down to her, she still may have a concept
Yeah.
everything that you were saying for the most part.
I agree.
And I can bet you she probably would ask questions if she didn't clearly understand what you were saying. So with
Yeah.
that being
Maybe
said,
not. Maybe a 5 year old, but not me because I
yes.
was quiet at 5. I probably would have just.
Uh,
I'm just playing. I don't know.
so let me ask you this question. So just off the top, so who are you right now representing? Like what are like the major players or major people in the different arenas that you're probably representing right now?
Most people are familiar with Ricky Smiley,
Oh
uh,
wow.
probably morning show.
Yes,
So
yes.
Married with T is very popular. He's one of my popular clients. And then I work with the cast of If Loving You Is Wrong, and that's a show that Tyler Perry produced, and now I believe it's on OWN still. It's still on
Okay.
OWN. And I have like two or three actors that are on that show. And then we have another pretty popular actress. Her name is Jasmine Burke. She's on a show called Saints and Sinners that comes on Bounce TV. And then she was recently this summer. She did a feature film, and she was the lead in a BT movie called what's that movie? Oh, Angrily Ever After.
Oh wow.
So,
Okay.
so
I think I've heard of
she
that.
yeah, she's really popular. And then one of the actors that's on the Tyler Perry series I mentioned, he's a dancer. I know he's danced with Missy Elliott, Usher, a lot of the Chris Brown, a lot of the big names. And let me see who else we got that's real popular, and a couple of other people. But and we worked with a lot of different TV networks that people are familiar with, from the urban ones like BET, TV One, and of course they have relationships with other media that are mainstream, Fox, NBC, CBS, things like that nature. And then we work with public speakers, people who are authors and write books, and they like to, have different platforms where they speak. And then as well as people in the music industry, whether it's an artist or someone who's a producer or anything where they're trying to reach a different climax in their brand.
Do you have anything else that you want to tell our viewers?
Um, Well, only thing if I was to leave a few words, would just to encourage, especially our people and our culture, to make great decisions, and that means you have to think before you act, and
Yes.
try not to make emotional decisions. I think a lot of people, and I've been there before too, made decisions based on emotion, and they end up in a place that they really didn't want to be. And so even when it comes to, career goals and things of that nature, you can't always plan everything out. It's good to have a plan, but it's also good to be open minded and then learn how to easily adapt to change, because as we can see now, we are in an era where change is necessary and mandatory. And if you can't handle that, or if you don't have a way to kind of navigate through the change and accept it, then you're going to have a hard time. So those would be some things I would leave to your audience.
Alrighty, guys. Well, that about concludes our meeting. And again, thank you for joining Conversations Coffee with the Tops PR firm. And again, all of Leslie's information will be in the description below. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Leslie's going to read these comments too as well. I'm going to send them to her. That way she can actually get a hold of them. All right, guys. We out.